Hi and welcome to another World of Warcraft Siege of Orgrimmar, looking for a tactics guide. And we're here with part 2 Siege of Orgrimmar Gates of Retribution. So the first boss is Galakros. This fight will play out more like a scenario than a raid boss. It is made up of several stages and you only really fight the boss in the last of them. The other phases all lead up to the boss fight, so we'll start with phase 1, clear the landing. You will start with the phase on the ship coming into the bay near Orgrimmar. However, you cannot land until you take out the cannons on the shore, which if you spawn is on the left side. You will need to clear the mobs there and eventually place the bombs at the cannons and the cannons will explode. And that is how you clear phase 1. Phase 2, bring her down. Warlord Zelia will send her best soldiers against you to stop you from getting to the towers above. All the while Galakros will be circling overhead causing issues for you. The soldiers are nothing to be taken lightly. There are 4 named high-ranking officers and several means to deal with. Each officer has a major ability that needs to be watched out for. So here's the first one. Cannoneer Juggernaut has a muscle spray attack that deals damage and pushes players back. The second one is Lieutenant General Kor'kron. Has an arching smash with his spear, dealing damage to everyone in his frontal area and knocking them back. Then the third one is High Enforcer Tranok. Pulls random players in towards him, change them, and shortly after that he deals heavy AoE damage to everyone nearby him. And then the last one, Kor'kron. The snake has various poisons based abilities and will in fact become a snake once her health is low, and deal even more damage with AoE poison volleys at players. So once you defeat these various soldiers sent against you and make your way to the top of the towers, you need to hit Galakros twice with the guns there. Once you have Galakros will plummet to the ground and you can fight her there. So that's how you end phase 2 and you begin phase 3. So phase 3 is the Galakros, the final boss fight. In this final phase you fight Galakros herself. The main mechanic in the fight is the flame that Galakros spews out random players. The flames of Kor'kron it is called. And it moves outwards towards the random target player, dealing damage to anyone it passes through on the way. However, the damage it deals is reduced each time it passes through a different player. Once the flame makes its way to the target player, it will explode for significant damage to everyone in the raid. This damage is lower for each player that the flame passed through as well. Therefore, you need it to hit it several players before it hits the true target, so that it lowers the healing requirement of this fight, so you won't be wiped. It's very easy. So the second ability is Pulsing Flames. This ability hits all players in the range for low amount of fire damage. However, it also applied a stacking buff to Galakros that increases the damage she causes with fire by 2% per pulse that happens. This forms a soft enraged damage since eventually the healers will not be able to keep up. And eventually you will down Galakros and the fight's over. So we will be moving to the next boss. So the second boss, the Iron Juggernaut. The second fight is against the mechanical monstrosity created from garage in the image of a giant scorpion. This beast guards the gates of Orgrimmar from intruders. The Iron Juggernaut has 2 main modes in the fight and will switch between them. So the first mode is Assault mode. The Iron Juggernaut has 2 different arms that each have a different attack. Its drill arm bores into the ground causing AoE blasts affect everyone nearby, while its other arm can launch a huge metal saw blade that ricochets from player to player. Both of these attacks need to be watched for and avoided as they deal significant damage. In addition to its arms being a scorpion, it has a tail. The tail will fire a laser at random players, dealing significant initial damage. There's also a cannon mounted on top of the war machine that launches explosives at random raid members, dealing AoE damage around them. The boss must be taken faced away from the players as it pulse fires out of its front vets that applies a dot and reduces armor by 20%. This affects stacks and requires a tank to swap. Throughout the fight, the boss will also release crawler mines. These mines target random players and move towards them and burrow in. Once burrowed, they start a countdown and explode for huge damage to the entire raid if allowed to explode. Players can stop the explosions by stomping on the mines, but will suffer personal damage and be launched into the air. So if you want to not get wiped, you will need to stomp those mines as quickly as possible, and then the healers can keep up with the damage. So the second mode is Siege mode. In this mode, the Iron Juggernaut digs into the ground and will attack various targets instead of the tank, and each of its weapons becomes far more dangerous, dealing even more AoE damage. During this phase, the Iron Juggernaut will also release many more crawler mines that need to be dealt with, as I mentioned before. And then eventually you will kill the boss. So let's continue to the next one. So as the third boss we have the Shamans, the Kor'kron Dark Shaman. This fight is against two very dangerous elemental shaman called Harmon and Kardish. This fight uses a shared health pool for the bosses and has an enrage mode at the end where they deal 25% more damage and gain 25% more haste once they are lowered to 25% health. So just keep it in mind, 25%. Each shaman has a basic attack and then gains additional attack based on the totems that are currently active. The totems are dropped at specific points in the fight. Poison Mist at 90% health, Full Stream at 80% health, Ash Flare at 70, Rusted Iron at 60. This makes the fight harder as the time goes on. So the Earthbreaker Harem, he does multiple abilities like Froststorm Strike. This attack hits the tank for heavy frost damage and places a stacking debuff that increases frost damage taken by 25% for 30 seconds. Then the second one, Poison Mist Totem. Hits several random players with a poison dot and a stacking damage increase. Then you have Fall Stream Totem. Hits all players in a line from heavy nature damage. Then the Ash Flare Totem summons ash elementals that will attack players. And then the last one, the Rusted Iron Totem, deals heavy damage and imprisons anyone with 3 yards. Then the other shaman with the first basic attack is Frost Stormbolt. This ranged attack hits the tank for heavy frost damage. With the first totem, the Poison Mist Totem, summons a toxic storm that deals heavy nature damage to anyone caught under it. The storm will last for 1 minute. Then the second totem, the Full Stream Totem, summons a full geyser that hits for heavy nature damage and causes a full slime to be spawned for each player hit. So don't get hit by that or you will have a lot of full slimes. Then the third totem, the Ash Flare Totem, causes smoldering ash to fall from the sky. It deals lethal damage to anyone under it when it falls and moderate damage to the entire raid when it hits. Then the last totem, Rusted Iron Totem, seals a player in an iron prison, dealing 100% of their health as damage after 1 minute. So don't be caught in that one. It will be very hard to keep you up, and eventually you will defeat these shamans and end the fight. And that was it for this boss. So here we are with the last boss, General Nazgrim. This fight is one of the most loyal of the Horde generals. He's been seen in many places over the years in World of Warcraft. He fought for Thrall, the Great Victorious, in the Grizzly Hills of Ashir. He, however, now has mistakenly placed his loyalty in Garrosh, and as a result must be defeated. The fight against Nazgrim is a single phase fight against the general and his minions. These are several different reinforcements that he will call throughout the fight you will need to deal with as adds. Nazgrim himself is essentially a warrior style character with warrior style abilities and rage as a resource. He even has the 3 normal warrior stances of battle, berserker and defense. So tanks need to watch out for several abilities that Nazgrim has, including Suffering Blow, which deals damage and reduces armor by 10% for 60 seconds, and Execute, which deals massive damage and can not be blocked, dodged or parried. Nazgrim can fling his mace at a player inflicted BoneBreaker, which reduces their health to half and deals damage over every second for 30 seconds, so heavy AoE damage. And then you have Heroic Shockwave. He will leap at a random player and deal heavy AoE damage around the area. In addition, he will leave aftershocks along that way that ripple for damage several seconds later. Then we have the Kor'kron banner. He plays a banner that allows his allies attacks to generate rage for him. Get this banner down quickly if you do not enough. If you think you do not have enough DPS. Then we have Ravager. This is a huge whirling blade that he will throw out that deals massive damage if you are struck. Once thrown, he stays in play for the rest of the battle. War Song. This ability consumes 100 rage and deals 75% damage to all players. Then we of course have the adds, who will be focused throughout the whole fight. The first add is Iron Blade. I'm gonna tell you the priority first. The Shaman first, then the Assassin, and then the Sniper, and then the boss. This is the priority for all the fight. So the first add is the Iron Blade. Uses a 2-handed weapon and has a whirlwind attack. Then the Arc Weaver uses an arcane shock that deals damage and applies a stacking debuff that increases damage taken by 25%. Also has an AoE blast ability and a blink. Then the Assassin, a rogue based add with a backstab and an assassin mark which shows which player they will attack, cannot be tanked. Then the War Shaman protects allies with Earth Shield and heals them with Chain Heals and Healing Tide Totems. Then the Sniper, this add uses a hunter mark, shows which players it will attack with shots, and multi-shot cannot be tanked also. So eventually if you kill all the adds and after the adds the boss, you end this fight. I hope you enjoyed and liked the tactics. Use them in Siege of Orgrimmar, and like and subscribe for more videos.